Look at me. Hello, hello. All right. I am Paris Gray, working hard to be your favorite Paris. And today I want to talk about life insurance and specifically in honor of my late mother. My mother died by suicide. Today is their anniversary date of death. And it was right before my second birthday. And I wanted to um, get talk about death by suicide when it comes by life insurance in honor of her today. And it just really is a true testament of how her legacy continues to live through me. I'm not sure what plans she had for me. Some days I'm not sure what plans I had for myself. But today I want to address some myths when it comes by death by suicide, address some questions that I've ran into a couple of different times, and then to also go through my Paris acronym to help you find out how much life insurance that you need. So, let me do. What happens if someone dies by suicide in the first year of their policy? Most carriers that I write for, I won't speak for every single one because that's when someone will call you out. But for most of them, there is like you can call it a clause or a condition in there that hi, friends, tell me hello if you join in or if you have a life insurance question. But if you die by suicide within the first 2 years and a day of most policies that I write, that is when it becomes where it might not pay out, just simply because of the rules in the policy writing. But I think that's a big difference because a lot of times people believe that if they die by suicide, that their insurance policies will not pay out, and that is not the case. That is not the case. So this is just another testament of making sure you understand what you're buying and what you really need. And if you have a question or if you're confused, that's what I'm here for. It's much easier to ask than to just not know. I had one mom come up to me, talk to me, and it was a serious conversation about like her mental health and how she'd be feeling. And she was like, if it wasn't for, she literally said that she was like, if it wasn't for the fact that my life insurance policy wouldn't pay out, I would probably already be gone. And she was crying. And I was like, sweetie, wait a minute. If you're only worried about the money part of what your kids will miss out on, your policy just has to be enforced 2 years in a day. No, I'm not encouraging her to do anything like that, but let's have real conversations about how you're feeling and planning for the future if that's something that you run into. All right. Can someone with mental health issues qualify for life insurance? Absolutely, they can. Life insurance is not just a black and white situation. One moment, got to make sure I'm available to the person. All right. So, yes, they can. Life insurance is not just a black and white, yes or no type of situation. You have options. Another reminder of why you need to just sit down and take some time to plan on what you want versus what you have and what you can get. Depending on how you manage your mental health, is it medication? Is it through therapists? What level is it? That may be a determining factor on how much your life insurance costs. But qualify, yes. It might look different than someone that you know or someone you've heard about. It might not look like the commercial life insurance that you see, but there are many, many, many situations where we can figure out a solution if you have mental health issues. All right. So I like this question. How do I bring up this conversation with a loved one who's struggling? And we're talking about death by suicide and life insurance in general. My response to that is if you do you honestly know that this person is struggling? Have you had conversations? Have they shared that with you? If that's the case, how do you guys have conversations now? It's not, now that's easier said than done. But when we really think about how we communicate with our friends and talk, and if they've opened up to us about certain situations, then you have to trust yourself, trust your friendship, and ask questions that way. I've tried a million different things. My emotions, now looking back, have been interesting throughout my life. And I've been a person who has written a letter when I couldn't get my words together properly. I have talk to a therapist to get feedback and tips on how I want to talk to someone with a hard conversation. So there's different ways. I think asking the question is the first step, but then remind yourself that you are a person too. If this is something you feel passionate about and you really can place yourself in that loved one's shoes, how would you like the conversation brought up to you? Now, some people are different. Some folks don't want you to talk to them or bring it up at all. That's probably when I would do. If it's really something that they're passionate about, that's probably when I would do a letter. So then you can't control how it's read or how your words are translated, but it is an effort. I think if we had more hard conversations, we would probably get further in this thing called life. Okay. Is there affordable coverage for people with mental health issues? Again, these questions are all based on mental health and things like that because I am honoring my late mother who died by suicide actually today, a long time ago. Affordable. So let's start with. I added this question in because we've already addressed that there are different options if you have mental health concerns when you are looking to shop for life insurance, but isn't affordable. So let's define what affordable is because I think that can be different in everybody's situation. And feel free to drop a comment and say hello or to let me know if you have a question in the comments. So yes, affordable is doubt. How much do you think it should cost to plan to live until 97 and beyond? So I think affordable is can be gray. How do I choose a beneficiary if I'm not married or have kids? Oh my goodness, this is a great question. That's why I added it in. But I see it answered a lot of different ways. And what I say to this is so you want to, if your kids are under 18, you would want to have somebody ahead of them so that you can avoid probate or hard things. That's another live that I can talk about. But picking a beneficiary, think about if your parents are still alive and you have kids or anything like that, who would your mom call? If something happened to you, if she needed help, or if you don't have parents anymore, do you have a friend? Who would someone call if you were no longer there? Who would handle your final wishes? That's who I would probably put for my beneficiary if I'm not married or have kids. An older cousin, it might be a younger cousin depending on maturity, but just think about like who would you actually want to handle your final expenses if you're no longer here. But that is a good thing to consider if you have kids that are under the age of 18 because they're not legally able to handle being a beneficiary. So you want to make sure you have a plan in place, but there are options. Again, this is just a reminder to have those type of conversations. Okay, let's see. How much life insurance do I really need? Let's do the math. So now I want to go through the P.A.R.I.S acronym that I came up with. It's my name. I'm P.A.R.I.S, if you do not know. And this is to help you think about how much of an insurance product do you need. So we'll go through the questions again here. It's something that you can look at yearly to try and plan for your future and beyond. Life insurance is more than just handling our final expenses. It is also to be a great strategy while we are living. The goal is to live and plan until the age of 100. So let's start with P. So P is protect your income. I came up with So protect your income. Right now, if we could look back, my mom, when she passed away, she was 27. She never got to see me become a woman, a mom, anything like that. So think about your age right now. If you have kids, if you don't, the income that you have today, do you share it with anyone? Who, how many years do you want that protected? I think before I really tell you to push yourself and have that conversation with yourself to see like how much of my income do I want to leave. Now I've started to give folks a little bit of guidance when it comes to that. And I think as you continue to age, or depending on what age you are when we have this conversation, will determine how much you need to leave. So for my daughter, if I bought anything today, I would set aside and think about 10 years from now, because I'll be 40 this year. In 10 years, I'll be 50. Not even time for retirement or anything like that. So, if anything happened between now and then, with my daughter being 12, I'm going to want to be able to have some income for her for the next 10 years. I think she'll need a good decade to navigate some things, and I will want to be able to help her with that. Now, my daughter is 12, so if you do the math, eventually she'll be able to work or do things like that. But wouldn't, if I could go back and set my own self up with my mom being gone, some type of consistent income coming in her absence would have been amazing to supplement the social security that I was getting. So think about that. If you don't have kids, you want to protect your income for the future, or plan for supplementing your income after retirement. This is something that we set and forget. This is not something where Paris next year I'm trying to retire and get all of this money. That is a different type of product, which we could talk about. That's when you talk about IULs, annuities, things like that, if you want to grow your money. Protecting your income for the future with whole life insurance, this is something that we are going to be letting grow and mature. Because remember, whole life insurance earns cash value, grows cash value, and pays dividends. Okay, so that is our slow grow. Next, we're going to add up debts and future obligations. So, when we're thinking about debts, think about your mortgage. Do you live in a home that you want to stay in the family for many years to come? Anything, when you think about debts, anything that you want to be handled or kept when you're gone, add that to the debt pile. If you are a sickly person and you had a lot of private medical care, they will try and come after your assets. Um, you just want to plan for that. How will you want those type of debts resolved? And I gotta pull up I forgot I had another screen over here. See if I had comments. You'll do that. For future obligations, you would want to think about, do you want to pay for a college in the future? Do you want to set aside a deposit for someone to buy a home in the future? If you have god kids, nieces, nephews, your own children, do you want to put aside money for your parents' nursing home in the future? If you are a millennial, you are a sandwich generation. So most likely you are helping to care for your parents. And if you are a parent, you have your kids. So you need to start planning for those, because a lot of our seniors, gave it their best, but they didn't quite think about living longer and how that would look. We don't plan really well all the time for death or life event changes. So that's that. Now, when we get to remember final expense, I'm becoming more and more passionate about this. I think you, at minimum, should start with 15K, because you deserve to be memorialized however you want that to be. But keep in mind, in 2025, it'll be 2085 when I'm 100, and we're planning to live until 100. We're living longer these days. So when you think about that, today, a lady that I spoke with paid $800 in the newspaper for her obituary. I've checked online. Obituaries normally start at 300. Online, they start at like $50 to $100 and go up based on, how long you want it to run, how many words, all of that good stuff. But Think about the life you've lived. You want to be memorialized. You want a headstones starting at 3K. If you want to, even if you want to get cremated, if you want to have a viewing, at minimum, normally you're looking at about 7K. So set 15K aside. So if you don't want to handle anything else, remember the final expense. Death certificates are not free. Nothing is free. Okay. So remember, include dreams and legacy. This is my favorite part to talk about because I feel like with P, we've protected our income, we've done adulting. A, we've added up all of our debts and responsibilities. We've remembered our final expense. Now, I is when you get to dream big for yourself and include your legacy. This is when we are planning, like for me, 30 years from now, when I'm retired and vacationing, I want people to be asking me, like, Paris, have you decided on this year's excursion experience, whatever? I plan to have like at the age of 70, 75, certain amount of money starts coming in to supplement my retirement so that I can really live in my dream. This is when I think about living benefits. There's so many different riders or things you can add to your whole life insurance policy that protects you. Cancer runs in my family. So I want to make sure if I have to run into that obstacle, I can handle it the way I want. I can have the people around me that I want. Legacy, think about in the future. I did a video the other day, and the lady that came out with OPI nail polish, she used to be like own a dental place or be in that, and she wanted nail polish with fun names, and people kind of laughed it off. And now, OPI has been around forever. Think about the people that you wish you had the funds to invest in today, or the companies that have passed by you that you wish you had invested in today. For Paris, in the future, after I'm long gone, I want loved ones, family members, certain ones to be able to already have my contribution set aside. I want to be able to leave a certain amount for my family members. Okay. And let me see. So that's that. Include dreams and legacy. And then, so just go crazy with that one. And for this one, you're going to add them all up and then you subtract your savings. So this is the time when you can think about insurance that you have from your employer. Wait, I think I got a question. One second. Let me check that. Okay, so sorry about that. Had to want to make sure I got those. So this is after you've added up PARI, then you're going to subtract your savings and other type of products. So this would be if you have life insurance through an employer, which is term insurance. This is where you would subtract those. So my goal, I'm super proud of myself. I've been coming up here and putting putting more information and content out, getting better. I want you to save this video. I want you to tag someone. I want you to write questions whenever you see this. But thank you so much for dreaming with me. I went through the P.A.R.I.S acronym pretty fast. So if you want help going over it together, we can do that as well. I can send you an Excel document as well as a worksheet that if you want to do it on your own first. But thank you so much for listening. And remember that protecting your family is what's being informed. Today, when I looked at the calendar and realized it was another year of honoring and celebrating the legacy of my mother, I thought how interesting it is that I'm able to share my gifts and talents and knowledge with the world. So why not go live and talk about it? So just think a lot of the things that you've heard about life insurance that are negative, a lot of the things that you are unclear about, we can clear up really quickly. It's free to talk to me. And life insurance is more than a policy, it is a love letter that lives long after you. Thanks for dreaming with me.